President Donald Trump has long advocated for more favourable international trade deals for the United States, famously tweeting in 2018 that trade wars are good and easy to win. One of his biggest targets has been China, and now the United States has escalated its trade dispute with Beijing, hiking tariffs from 10 to 25% on Chinese goods, including car parts even, and electronics. Later today, the world's two largest economies will resume talks. However, as it stands, the new rates apply immediately to goods being shipped out of China today. The Chinese Commerce Ministry said it deeply regretted the US decision. Beijing's top negotiator, Vice Premier Liu He, has warned of the impact.
Raising tariffs will be harmful to both sides. In a sense, the Chinese and US economies make up a complete industrial chain. Both will be hurt by raising tariffs. But we shouldn't hurt innocent people. It would be regrettable to see the interests of ordinary people on both sides damaged.
There's growing international concern too. Speaking on television, the French Finance Minister Bruno Le Maire said a trade war between China and the US would create huge problems for the global economy.
There is no greater threat to world growth, to the standard of living of everyone listening to us, than a trade war between China and the United States, because it means that trade tariffs will go up, fewer goods will circulate around the world, and jobs will be destroyed. A trade war will destroy jobs in France and in Europe. And in this area too, Europe has to unite to resist that.
Well, our economics correspondent Andrew Walker is here. First of all, Andrew, is Bruno Le Maire right? Will we all see it?
To some degree, I think that's probably true. The principal impact would undoubtedly be on the two protagonists in this conflict, the United States and China. But they are the biggest economies on the planet. And that does mean that if there is some adverse impact on consumer and business demand for goods, that's bound to have some sort of impact in softening demand for the supplies of other countries. If you look at China, major buyer of industrial commodities, metals, energy and so forth, also of industrial machinery. So that's an issue for Germany. The United States, a big buyer of consumer goods. So a potential impact there. Now, these markets aren't going to dry up all of a sudden, but certainly at the margin there is the potential for some impact there. In addition, I think you could be looking at the possibility of some confidence effects, businesses worrying about where would be the best place to locate their supply chains, and that might have an adverse impact on investment. I suppose the one area where some countries might actually be see a little bit of a gain is if there's some diversion of trade with buyers in America or China seeking to find alternative suppliers that are not subject to these tariffs.
And what are the big sticking points as negotiations go back to this afternoon?
Well, it seems to be where we have been all the time as the really central focus, which is American concerns about intellectual property. That's to say the technology, patents, copyright of American businesses. Americans accuse Chinese firms of stealing American trade secrets, cyber theft. There's also concerns about the extent to which they are obliged to share their technology with Chinese partners when they get involved in the Chinese market. That's one key issue, but there's in addition a wider long-standing concern that the Americans have about the extent of Chinese subsidy of businesses that they see as major competitors for American firms.
Andrew, thank you. Kerry Allen, our China media analyst, is here in the studio as well, and she's been following reaction for us. So tell us about the reaction to this news in China.
Well, it's been covered extensively for the last 48 hours. There's been heavy promotion of the Ministry of Commerce's statement that China has come to this with sincerity, and it's been saying that it will have no choice but to introduce countermeasures if the US doesn't back down. But one of the really strong messages that's been coming out of Chinese media has been that China will survive no matter what. It's been promoting today, especially the fact that there's it's Domestic Products Day in China, something that was introduced by China's State Council in 2017. So every 10th of May every year, there's heavy promotion of Chinese products and a lot of propaganda campaigns coming out saying that Chinese products should be getting more promotion, and people don't necessarily need to, for example, buy an Apple phone now. They can buy a Huawei phone. And this has a lot of backing from celebrities, very, very influential figures in China. So young people see this and they're thinking, yeah, we can buy domestic. And especially given the time of these talks taking place, it's very interesting.
Kerry, thank you. That was Kerry Allen, our China media analyst. We also heard from Andrew Walker, who is our economics correspondent.